my daughter Bumpoto. Bumpoto.
Welcome back to another episode of Blerd Up Reviews, where we review the latest in movie, TV, and gaming. We are your hosts. I'm Killer Cam,
And I'm Monique.
and we're running a little bit behind, but we finally got to it. The Coming to America movie review. So
Mm.
last week, this movie just kind of snuck out on a Thursday. It wasn't supposed to be out to a Friday, but whatever, you know. And we had the opportunity to watch it. And I don't know about you, Bo. I watched it a couple of times because I've seen mixed reviews on this movie, and I just wanted to make sure I wasn't tripping.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I watched it the first time and I was excited to review it and then I start hearing other people's reviews and I was like, well, am I tripping? So I did watch it another time, a second time, and I'm not tripping. So
Long story short, I liked it. I
yeah.
don't. I liked it. So before we jump into this movie review, thank you for everyone who's been liking, subscribing to our channel. Of course, your likes, your views, your comments, your shares, all of that good stuff helps us get picked up in the YouTube algorithm, and also makes us feel good to know that we have like-minded blurs out there who just want to kick it with us and shoot the crap about these movies. So thank you so much for your support. If you are new, just stumbling across us, please make sure you do hit that like and subscribe button. That way you too can stay up to date with all of our reviews.
Mhm.
All right, Coming to America. You want to kick us off with a brief synopsis?
Yeah, so basically in this movie, you get Akeem, who basically learns that he has a long lost son back in Queens. And he actually returns to Queens or America to meet and take his heir back to Samunda, so he can rule. But that him doing that causes problems with his with his three daughters, but mainly his oldest daughter. Um, I believe her name is Mika in the movie. And we kind of get hijinks from there, basically.
Definitely. And here's the thing, guys. We went into this movie like fully understanding what we were getting. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'll say this, and I'm very comfortable in saying this. Like, if you're looking to the original version to serve as somewhat of a gauge as to how we should rate this movie, probably not. Because number one, I'm of the mindset of back in the day, you've got movies like Coming to America, The Golden Child, and I'm pulling Eddie Murphy movies, Harlem Nights. They don't even make movies like that anymore. Like, is that just me or?
No, no, you're exactly right. And also another thing that you have to think about is very rarely is a sequel as good as or better
Mhm.
than the original. I think there's only a handful of movies out there that you could say are as good as or better than the original. So you got to kind of get your mind right before going into this movie. You're not going to see an Oscar, nominated type movie. You're going to see a feel good, fun type of movie, bringing back all the characters that we loved in the
Mhm.
original Coming to America. Just get your mind right before you
Yeah.
go in.
Hey, if anything that serves this film, I think it's nostalgia because let's look at what it has done. It brought back the major characters and many of the minor characters from the
Mhm.
original, and then plus just packed this movie full of new characters, major and minor. So I mean, when you look at it, you've got Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall, Cherie Headley, Garcelle Bouvet is back. We've got Louis Anderson. We've got John
Mhm.
Amos. We've got new performances from Morgan Freeman, which cracked me up. Of course, King Jaffe Joffer. We had God, why is my brain shutting down right now? James Earl Jones. James Earl
Yeah.
Jones.
Okay.
Um, a slew of musical guests. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
even one that I haven't seen people talk about, which I thought was funny. Trevor Noah as the talk show host tripped me
Right.
out, had
Right.
me laughing. So I guess when we go into this review, let's start with what we liked and then jump to what we may not have liked so much and then give it to a rating. What do you say?
Yep. Yep. I'm good with that.
All right. So let's start with you. What did you like? What did you like about Coming to America?
I liked all the nostalgia feels. Being able to see everybody who was in the original film, and not only that, being able to see these newcomers as well come to the movie, especially Wesley Snipes, who was
Yeah.
actually originally supposed to play Eric LaSalle's character in the original Coming to America. Him being in this second movie, I know we've talked about this previously. Wesley Snipes, I know he's known for his action type movies. He's martial artist, yeah, big bad, but he has great comedic timing. He's a
Hmm.
very funny, like just a funny character in this movie, and that's what I actually enjoyed most of all. The way he would walk into a room, pimp walk into a room.
Hmm.
The from his dancing, from just the looks he was given, like loved absolutely positively every moment of his performance.
Yeah, I have to agree. He was definitely an MVP in this movie. Just playing it like this warlord who
Mhm.
is threatening the crown of Zamunda, basically trying to marry his family into that, which is something that they have been trying to do since the first movie with
Mhm.
ooh, 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 you
Yep,
know.
yep.
That's his sister. So now he's trying to pimp his kids off into Mika's life, which was Rotimi.
Yeah, Rotimi
And
had me
his
cracking up.
he kept doing his hair, you
Yeah.
know. It was just kind of like, nah, player. But then we get Tiana Taylor as his daughter. So I like
Oh,
when you say it. Say
Pepito.
it. Say
Yeah.
it.
This is my daughter, Pepito. Or
What was the name?
like
Vapoto?
Pepito. Yeah, like
Yeah.
every time I had trouble pronouncing her name actually because I had the closed captions on while I was trying to watch it, and I was like, Bopoto? Like Pepito. And every time he would say it, I'd be like, oh my gosh, it's
Yeah.
crazy, crazy.
Crazy. So I mean, when you think about all the lovely, talented black cast in this movie, that's one thing that stands out to me that I really, really enjoyed. Like you said, the nostalgia scenes, the scene of them just kind of reverting back to the first movie when they're in the club and they're meeting the girls, and you see, spoiler, Simi just walks off and meets two new girls and is introduced to Leslie Jones's character, who turns out to be Prince Hakim's baby mama, you
Right,
know.
right.
And one thing you had mentioned that I agreed with, Leslie Jones in this movie, like given what her part was, she really did the most with it.
She did. I'm going into this believing that Leslie Jones did not have that many lines coming into this movie. However, she did what she made the most out of it
Hmm.
by doing the extra that she did in this movie. She basically went into this like, I know I don't have much to do, but I'm gonna give myself a lot to do so I can be seen in this movie. And that's exactly what she did. And I thought she was absolutely positively incredible for it. So.
Yeah. And I know some people don't necessarily care for her humor.
Mhm.
She catch me in the right moment and she's gonna make me laugh. And I felt like that's what she did in this movie. There were a
Yeah.
few times, not just with her, but with other cast members as well, where I just found myself either like snickering or maybe even a delayed laughter where I'm just like,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah. And guys, I want to tell you, a lot of this stuff in this movie, it is not going to make sense, but that's what's so funny about it. I mean, I've heard a lot of reviews where like I don't get why, he didn't get a DNA test. I don't get why they got, there's some marriage scenes that happen in here that happen so fast. I don't get Stop thinking about it so much, just go into it, have fun. That's the funny thing about it. Like they're doing these things, they're setting up these situations for us to get a nice little hearty laugh out of it. So stop thinking about it so much, basically. Just have fun.
The neighboring, I guess, country,
Next
whatever they
door.
want to call it, next
Yeah.
door, yeah. Like,
Yeah. Stop thinking about it, like don't that's not something I think they wanted you to dwell on saying, oh, that's a whack name. No, it's
right.
next door. Yeah, dude, like
Did that on purpose. I'm like, this was purposely done, to
yeah,
make you be like, wait, what? Like
yeah,
even like the part that had me rolling. Well, it had me rolling but confused when James Earl Jones's character, they're having his funeral while he's still alive, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna die now.
right.
And I'm like, what? Like, is he playing? Like, oh no, he's serious. you know?
These are things meant for you to laugh at, and I was rolling on the floor laughing at this kind of stuff. So
Yeah,
I really I'm sorry. I'm not of the mindset of this movie wasn't it, but this movie was all it for me. I
yeah,
love this movie.
yeah. I have to agree. Standout performances, I guess I would say. I mean, there were so many just like people in this movie that I was just happy to see on screen. First, you got Kiki Lane, um,
Mhm.
just killing it, just popping all
Yes.
over the place. Eddie Murphy's real life daughter playing the middle child, and then the younger daughter, who I got a kick out of, specifically when they were fighting. I thought that was just like the coolest thing. And then you got what's his name, Jermaine Fowler
Yep, Jermaine Fowler.
playing Lavelle.
Mhm.
I thought he was cool. He kind of came in and did what he did, but I think some of the standout performances for me was there's an African actress named I always get her name messed up. It's Nanzamo Umbata or
Uh
Umbatu Umbata
Namzamo Mbatha, I think.
Umbata.
Yeah.
She was stunning. I believe the chemistry between her and Jermaine Fowler's character was really nice. I think
Mhm.
that made the movie much more enjoyable for me because I liked seeing them together, on
Mhm.
screen.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree.
So, another thing I really liked about this movie, it's just a lot of callbacks to the original, but the overall tone and message from the movie, what I took from it was family. You know,
Mhm.
at the end of the day, your family is your family. You love and accept them for who they are. I also saw legacy,
Mhm.
getting rid of old traditions in favor of starting new ones, specifically with the daughters, because there was a point in this movie where I'm like, this fool is really about to become king, and his
Mhm.
sister is going to be kind of like pushed to the back. But even still, between their performance, they started to get a little bit better chemistry towards the end of the movie, and you saw how she was helping him and
Mhm.
supporting him, and they were learning from each other. So
Yeah.
I kind of looked at that as just kind of like legacy, family,
Yeah.
sticking together, and things may not always be rosy. You may not always get what you want, but you're there to have each other's backs, so on and so forth. So on and so forth.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Um, Even with women being fully capable to be leaders, you guys, we have a black woman as a vice president in the office now. So
Mhm.
not to see this reflected on screen to me would have been a huge miss for this movie. So I'm glad that they did it the way they did, because it really showed that Mika was fully capable of running Zamunda and didn't need no man coming for her. Her and her sisters didn't need no man to protect her from the big bads out in the world. So
Right. Right.
so, um, any other things you liked? You want to point out?
I mean, I again, this movie was just a nice, fun movie to go into. Again, gave me a lot of nostalgia type feels. Love to see the old actors coming back. Love to see the new actors and actresses, being in it. I mean, again, just had fun with this.
Yeah. And things I want to point out. I mean, when you look at this movie, just the way that it was put together, let's not skip over the fact that the wardrobe, the costuming for this movie was completely on point, done by Ruth E. Carter from Black Panther fame.
And fun. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody on screen looks stunning, even down to the avant-garde pieces that Tiana Taylor was wearing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could not beat that. I think that definitely enhanced the movie in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the choreography, down to the fight choreography, down to the dancing. The dancing was choreographed by Fatima Robinson, who, if you guys aren't familiar with, she was basically the choreographer behind any hot group, including Aaliyah back in the 90s,
Yeah.
and 2000s. And thinking about the way those items all have to work together to make this movie visually appealing, I think they put a lot of effort into this.
Yeah. And even more so that we saw, because I actually heard that Fatima uh had choreographed a much bigger dance scene for some of these scenes, and that we didn't even get to see. It was cut down, a lot. So I'm
Mhm.
actually hoping to see if they ever put this out on DVD, if we get to see the full dance routines that were put in here, because from what I saw, absolutely positively, like Fatima Robinson always does the best work, and
Yeah.
to see even more of her work on screen, I would absolutely love to see that.
Yeah, and she's up there with the greats. You got Lorianne Gibson, Tina Landon, and
Mhm.
Fatima Robinson. So if there's a top three, that's it right there. Um, any dislikes for you?
The only thing that I did not like is there were and I understandably I knew this was going to be the case, being that this movie is PG-13,
Hmm.
and it's being released on Amazon Prime. There were some CGI elements in the movie that you can obviously tell it was fake. But again, it didn't bother me that much, because again, I set the expectation going into the movie knowing that, hey, this is PG-13. It's being released on Amazon Prime. It's not being released theatrically, like we got for the first movie. But that was the only thing. There were some things that you could obviously tell, like, oh, that's not a real lion. It kind of
Right.
takes you out for a minute, but then you got to realize, yeah, this, for the movie that it is, it's all right.
Yeah.
It's not. No. Yeah.
It didn't take me out once at all. I don't know why I was trying to combine two words together. I agree with you. The PG-13 did kind of make me go, when I first started watching it. But at the end of the day, I didn't care. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I got my laugh. I spilled the beer. It is what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
um, on the Blurdometer scale, 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, where would you rank Coming to America?
I'm actually gonna give this 2 ratings. What on the I'm gonna rate it on my nostalgia funometer scale, and I'm gonna rate it on the blerdometer scale, which is
Mm,
where we usually rate all of our movies. But the nostalgia funometer scale, I would give this movie a 10. Again, setting my expectation going into the movie, I absolutely positively loved it. It's a 10 for me on that scale. If I'm rating it up against other movies that I've seen, though, I'd give it a 6.
yeah, I agree. On the Blurdometer scale, I was going to give it a 6. Because here's the thing, guys. This movie, I've seen a lot of people call it trash, garbage, and I don't think it's that. I think, again, there's a level of expectation setting that needs to happen when
Yeah.
you're watching a movie like this. And I also think there's a level of, I don't know if it's just been lost these days because we're so used to being spoon fed, I guess, feeling. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. But when I go into movies like this, as with a lot of movies I watch, I go into it with my imagination being like, what would I have done if I was Hakeem? Because if you think about this movie, 30 years in the making, I connected with Hakeem as a character as a 9-year old, and I'm connecting with him now as a 41-year old. And I enjoyed that ride. I enjoyed that ride that I took in my head to put myself in the place of these characters.
Mm,
Um, I do wish people would be a little bit more careful about the words that they use to describe movies like this. Garbage, trash, I think is a reach, and I think it does us a disservice as a people who have been fighting for representation on screen for so long. And I think it just kind of defeats our purpose of trying to make sure that we see ourselves reflected on TV and in movie, I guess I'll say. Perfect example. I feel like this is why this narrative that is in Hollywood right now, why it's so hard to overcome, because we keep allowing other people to kind of dictate who and what black people can be on screen. I think
yeah.
this is the reason why there was so much pushback against Queen Latifah taking on the mantle of Equalizer, which, you guys, is actually a pretty decent show. It's not anything to scoff at.
Yeah, and it's been
You,
renewed for a second season too. So
you know, this is the reason why Lashana Lynch had to take down her social media, because the fanboys don't think that a black woman should be playing 007. Let's get real right now. 007 is a moniker, it's not a person,
mm,
you know? So I just say that to say is, let's not do ourselves in using words like trash and garbage for the sakes of likes and views
yeah,
and shoot ourselves in the foot, because this movie did a lot of things. And we're on screen as kings and queens, princes and princesses. I mean, looking nothing less than royal.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
and not only that, you've got to think about too, Eddie Murphy even agreeing to do this movie, because again, we weren't going to get a Coming to America sequel for a long time until Eddie Murphy was like, "Yeah, let's go ahead and do it." You know, called up Arsenio Hall and got with Craig Brewer and was like, "Let's do this." So you've got to think about also the amount of jobs he created for African
Absolutely.
Americans in the creation of this movie. I know Rick Ross doesn't need it, but I don't know if y'all realize this was filmed at Rick Ross's mansion. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think he needs the money, but he actually, was like, "Hey, yeah, come film it at my mansion." And Rick Ross
Hmm.
was in the movie as well. So you've got to think about that as well. Again, we're not saying that you are not allowed to have an opinion. Yes, you
Right.
are allowed to have your opinion about what you think about these movies. I just want you guys to just be aware of the language that you use, and also keep that same energy for the Will Ferrell movies, the Adam Sandler movies.
Seth
Not saying
Rogen.
I actually like some of Seth Rogen's.
I do too. But he's got some that I'm just kind of like, this was not good.
Right, right. So I just want you guys to keep that same energy for those type of movies. And if you don't sit here and call a movie where it created opportunities for African American people in the business to make money and
Get
show
exposure.
exposure, show that representation on the big screen, because we most often either don't get that type of exposure, or when we do, it's something that is not even relatable to us.
Right.
So,
I mean,
we're not saying that you're not allowed to have your opinion. Just kind of, um be a little bit more respectful, I guess I would say, to how you react, I guess,
yeah.
to these type of movies.
Yeah, and I was just gonna add to that because I mean, really, that's the thing. This is like when we say support black business. I mean, this is what it comes down to. And think about it from this: the exposure that Nzama Mbata has received from this movie, we're gonna get to see her in a lot more American films, which I think is good because she was great on screen and she's a great actress. And I never would have known of her had I not seen this movie.
Hmm.
But also, let's just look at it this way. I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to see another slave movie. I don't want to see 12 Years a Slave. I don't want to see another The Help movie. I don't want to see anything like that. I want to see our people really rocking out on screen, taking on more action roles, taking on more rom-com roles. I more horror movies. God forbid a black person be in a horror movie and not die. I'd like to see that. And I think movies like Coming to America,
Yeah.
yeah, this is the movie that this is one of those movies that opens those doors because
Hmm.
it's giving exposure. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
we've got a new series, a new horror anthology on Amazon Prime coming up called Them. Is it them or they?
Yeah.
Them. It's called them.
Them over there. Them.
them over there.
Us and
You
them.
know, and just think about what had to come before to even open that door. That's all we're saying here. So, 1 to 10, we gave it a 6. Enjoyed it. I'll probably watch it again once COVID is over. We get to have family holidays again. This is probably going on the playlist.
Hmm.
Any parting shots?
No, man. I just really, again, really enjoyed that we even got it Coming to America too, and just enjoyed the nostalgia feels, the fun I had watching it, enjoyed the performances, enjoyed not even know Rotimi could actually be funny in anything. He did his little thing with his little parts that he had. So I'm, again, I'm watching this movie again. At that I'm not going to say it's going to be a classic like Coming to America, but I definitely will be watching this movie again.
Yeah, me too. All right. Curious as to what you guys think. If you had the opportunity to watch it, what you liked, what you didn't like, drop down in the comments. Let us know. Please be respectful. I will say that because again, our channel is called Blerd Up. We're not going to be supporting anything that's downing. Or disrespecting black actors or actresses. Just a thought. But let us know what you do think until next
Disrespecting
time.
anybody.
Anybody
Sorry.
really, but
Yeah. So,
specifically, they'll tell you. We come in the comments, man. But anyway, until next time, we are your hosts. I'm Killer Cam.
and I'm Monique.
We'll see you on the next episode of Blerd Up Reviews.
Thanks, guys.